Welcome back, everyone, to ESL One Cologne 2015. We're really narrowing down the playoff brackets now. Two spots left, rather, but one right now for Group G. And it will be between Renegades Australians, who just ticked down Titan, up against NiP, who have been waiting for this match. And NiP have been watching the match. I mean, they know it's going to be either Titan or Renegades. They've had a little bit of an easier time, you could say, preparing for this lead-up. We just saw Renegades play. Let's talk about NiP a little bit. Obviously, a team with extensive history. If we want to start from the very beginning, I'm sure we could go on forever. But more concerning this major itself, Cadian, it would be an absolute disappointment to not see them really move on from the groups.
A team that's been in all major finals, now being on the edge of either going to the quarterfinal or dropping out of groups. I mean, for them, it would kind of be a disaster to go out, but for Renegades, it would be the biggest of their careers. So it's kind of the big contrast coming in here. Looking at NiP, it's very difficult to rate them. I feel like they're one of the other question marks at the tournament. I've been fairly disappointed with the run in the recent ones, 1, 2, 3 months. Yet people have been trying to hype them during the practice, saying that they're on the rise again.
Right.
So far, we haven't seen much of that. Against Renegades, I mean, still that should be a must-win for them, and even though they win this one, I'm still not fairly convinced where NiP is going to be rated in this tournament.
Yeah, Semler, what do you think about where NiP is right now? Because, yeah, I think Cadian brings up a good point. A lot of people, there was a lot of talk saying, no, I don't know, NiP's looking really scary again come major time, and then suddenly yesterday, they got absolutely destroyed by TSM. You're giving me that smile. What does it mean?
No, it means that when it comes to analyzing NiP at a major, you know, basically just
go for the facts.
Like delete everything that you have in your memory, right? You know, just refresh, because there's no predicting what they can do. Ask this guy. I mean, last time they were here at a major in Cologne, they were at their, it seemed to us at least, they were in their worst shape ever. No way in hell they're getting out of the groups. Oh wait, no way in hell they're getting past the quarterfinals. Oh wait, and they get into the finals and they win the whole damn thing.
Congrats, by the way.
Right? Exactly. There's a big photo of like Fifth, you know, hoisting up the trophy. So that's what makes it difficult when it comes to predicting what NiP, what kind of shape they're going to bring in. Okay, sure, in the practice, scrims, everything, preparation going up to the tournament, everybody's saying, man, whoa, NiP are hitting really hard right now. But then, as you said, right, they get into the groups and they just flounder completely. They get, no, not flounder, they got just like pushed under the water by TSM and held there. Like there was no coming back up from that. TSM just shredded them. So versus Renegades, who are clearly fired up and warmed up, it's going to be a real tough battle for NiP.
Looking from the outside, it doesn't even seem like they have overplayed or been at too many events. They had a fairly decent boot camp, as far as I know. They should have had the possibilities, at least, of being well prepared. I don't know what you take on this, Fifi. You know some of them.
No, I mean, well, first of all, I want to note, or I want to say something. Last year in Cologne, we actually lost to Epsilon.
Yeah, and
we got trashed.
Yeah, Cobblestone, that's right. Kiyoshima showed up and just like wrecked your face.
Yeah, yeah. So they're in the same situation now where they're one game away from being eliminated. So obviously these guys know how to handle pressure. One thing that I must say though, coming into this major and like the previous tournaments as well, is that it's very mental for these guys, because you tell them, you can see on them that they're talking about like, yeah, we play good on prac, blah blah. Okay, give me a break. Practice results does not matter. I was so close to cursing there. I apologize.
You don't need to hold yourself back, man.
No, but yeah, practice results, it does not matter. Like you have to keep in mind, like certain teams that you play against, they go into the practice just to grind tactics, for example. So whatever you may do in practice, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. It's what you do here in the tournament. And so far, NiP has not been looking good. They got trashed by TSM. Versus CLG, it looked very shaky. Overall, like I said, this guy right here on the screen, Forrest, has actually been showing up for the first game versus CLG. Getrive was missing. Alu did not show up versus the TSM game. But overall, it's very mental for these guys. And I think that if they do manage to beat Renegades here now, I do believe that they will have a strong chance of beating Virtus.pro in the quarterfinals.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? You mentioned last year in Cologne that you were in a similar situation. Also, the DreamHack Winter with the Michaelele, they were in the group in the game against ESC, actually, also about dropping out or going to the quarterfinal. But somehow you just feel like if they actually manage to go to the quarterfinal, especially against Virtus.pro, something is just telling you that they're going to win. Where Renegades going through here, I think they're going to have a way harder time against Virtus.pro.
Yeah.
Also, small note, while we're watching here, you see Alu in the picture right now. If I remember correctly, yesterday he was actually sitting on the other chair next to Getrive. So this what positions, I think. Alu, is that anything with like communication?
No, they're sitting the same.
You sure?
Yeah, look, Getrive and Alu sitting there, and then
Getrive always sits on the edge.
Yeah, he always did, but I'm fairly sure that I saw them swap yesterday. I'm wrong?
Really?
They might have.
We'd have to.
Yeah, I'm actually not quite sure.
Because I
you
feel
weren't
like
here yesterday, Katie.
yeah, I saw it from home.
So you were saying that you saw positions with
Suddenly just
Okay.
described.
Yeah.
I got confused now.
But I feel like, for example, having a guy like Alu, maybe with the communication issues, I don't know if they're existing or not, but it's more important to have him being able to be watched by two different players to see what's going on from his point of view.
Oh yeah. I mean, I have to agree. Coming into the last Face It tournament, up until then, NiP were calling in English. And then after that, like they lost to TSM in the final. They weren't happy with the result. That's when they put the foot down on the floor and they was like, we're going to start calling in Swedish. This does not work out for us. We can't have 4 Swedish players calling in English because we have one player that he is Finnish and the calls in Swedish, they're not that difficult to learn.
Right.
So he needs to start learning so we can actually be comfortable in our own game. And then they still call a little bit in English. Let's say he's the only one left alive. But other than that, it is going to be Swedish.
And we do have the map veto's going down, and
That's no surprise.
I mean, Train is a respect veto, I believe, after getting beat by Renegades at Gfinity. I did say Face It yesterday. I apologize for that, but it was during Gfinity.
And Overpass removed as well, and here we see the removal of Dust 2. This is gonna get exciting. Oi!
Inferno.
That is... Ooh, I actually don't know, but I feel like...
I mean, Renegades, they're not on a bad Inferno team, but NiP is also very strong on this map, and I think out of the remaining maps here, I think Inferno was probably the worst map Renegades could have gotten.
My only memory of the Renegades team on this map was like far back for the last major qualifier when they were beating Dignitas back when they were playing with Fetish. I don't know if anyone recalls, but that was when they had the T-half of like 13-2 or something against Dignitas. And since then, I actually don't remember that much from them on this specific map.
And NiP starts CT.
Yeah, NiP does have that choice, of course, being the higher seed in this matchup and hoping to sit comfortable on there. But now, in general, whenever Inferno comes up, I hear you guys, even if it's 2 good teams, it always does seem to favor the teams. Like, if you're like, oh, well, they're both pretty good, but one team is stronger. Inferno seems to be a map where you guys can clearly say, all right, that definitely favors the stronger team then, given how they play. Is that going to apply to NiP too, or is the stylistic differences maybe going to come into play here?
For me, it's more like earlier in the days, I feel like teams were specializing more in Inferno.
Okay.
But right now it's more a map that every team is like able to play, but it's not really like it's the favorite map of that many teams anymore. So it should favor NiP. I recall them having a pretty good rate on this map from big tournaments.
They do, and one thing to note about this map as well is that it's one of Alu's best maps. And you saw yesterday versus TSM, he did not have a good time on Cash at all. He seemed way out of place, way out of position. Here, this is a map where he can just take control over middle if he wants to. He can push up Banana. It's a very simple map for an Opper because you don't have to move that much when it comes down to you just pick up spot in the beginning of the round. You go to you grab you try and take a pick, and then you can just fall back and just hold defensively, and you're in a
Arch.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So overall, I think I wasn't quite sure. Did NiP pick CT or did they pick T or did Renegades
NiP started the veto ban, so they would have got to pick the side.
But
okay, they actually decided.
So they
to pick
decided
CT.
to play CT, and that would be. I mean, it would be insane not to go CT.
Well, yeah, in reality, yes. But NiP on Inferno, they tend to pick T side first because it's one of their stronger sides.
Yeah, the same is the case for Mirage, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess if you're going off the stats that have been pulled, and stats you can only take them so far, right? But Renegades don't lose if they start Inferno CT side. Like they have like 100% win rate on CT. Really? If they start CT, they struggle a lot more if they start T. So, I don't know. It's just right now, like this map, how it's panning out, at least at the start, going into it, it really feels like this leans heavily towards NiP.
I have a small question to throw out there, Flair, because quickly, we're talking a lot about NiP never changing their playstyle. When you watch them play Inferno now, during the time with Michaelila Alu, how is it in contrast to when you played with them? Do you see any differences?
There's no difference.
No difference.
Freiburg still goes Banana, tries to get a pick.
Hey, he's the king.
But he's still getting less. One thing to note, he's getting less help now. Back in the day, he used to get a lot of help with Exist. He's not getting that anymore. And therefore, Boiler Room or Get Right Up in Apartments, they try to search for picks a lot. So it heavily relies on Freiburg and Banana and forcing the Boiler Room.
All right, well, let's take a look. Renegades trying to make a miracle run here against NiP to make it into the quarterfinals. Meanwhile, NiP just trying to defend that position. They've been at the finals of every major so far. Can they continue here at ESL One Cologne 2015? We'll find out right after this.
Hello and welcome back to ESL One Cologne. Things are heating up here as we've already said goodbye to Titan. I say we.
Yeah.
I'm Alex Machine Richardson. He is Jason Moses O'Toole, and we have got a fantastic game to bring you. It's going to be the Australians Renegades going up against NiP, a team who have fallen from grace somewhat. Is that a fair summation of what we've currently seen from them?
Absolutely, that's completely fair. And it's, I mean, that performance that Renegades just had, I think NiP is actually pretty fortunate they're going to be starting on the CT side of Inferno. This is a map that can be very CT heavy at times, and actually, while it's Renegade's second best map, they do pretty well on it. It's NiP's first best map recently.
Yeah, I mean, they've been getting some pretty crazy win percentages. I think they've won 17 out of 24 games as of late here on Inferno. It's going to be a real tough test for Renegades starting on that T side. As we did see, of course, them get gifted the CT side over on Mirage, their victory up against Titan. So can they do it when they have to climb the mountain of T side Inferno? It's going to be a fantastic game, and it's such a pleasure to be able to bring it to you. Of course, the winner of this one has secured a spot over in the Lanxess Arena.
I actually think this is, if Renegades can get a hot start on this T side, pick up, use the economy to their advantage and pick up, 3 or 4 rounds early on, that's going to put NiP into a very dangerous spot, because I think Fifth Layer nailed it by saying that their T sides get stale.
Let's see. Whoa, hello, JKS just starts with a bang, as that bang is Forest's head exploding here on Inferno. As a second JKS just explodes. That's mid-control completely seized there from the youngest member of the squad. And the 3 remaining NiP members are kind of floundering, wondering, where do we take this bomb? Where is this bomb going?
They have to gamble. Now they have to gamble, and you can see NiP 2 players cheating over towards A. B is completely left open, and obviously Renegades can't know that at the moment. Sponge coming into CT spawn. Get Right takes him out. He's got to hold strong. He's got more people chasing him down. 8 bullets left. Can't connect with anything else. Havoc is going to take him out.
Yeah, this is looking like a bloodbath then. All onto Alu. JKS has already found his third, as Alu does make it look a little neater and tidier, as he does get one alongside Get Right. Still, though, 3 to find, and that bomb's not going to be taking any time now. 35 seconds, and JKS finds his fourth.
What a round.
Astounding round from JKS. Relatively quiet over on Mirage, because his team was doing it for him, and this time he says, I'm fragging as well. First round on the board then for Renegades, and we said that, they've got to make it happen on T side. They've got to start strong, and my God, if JKS hasn't done that for them.
Yeah, and that's how they started out against Titan, is getting so many early kills in the rounds and then just taking that advantage and just decimating them from there. They do it again to NiP. Get Right's got the shotgun. They have 4 smokes as well. Basically what this will do, they're going to use those smokes in a choke point, funnel that off, and try and force Renegades over towards the side that they want to stack.
So a glass cannon mag 7. That's it's an intriguing one. Let's see how far they can get with that one. He's, of course, holding that boost spot over on B.
2 smokes have been used already. Exist is cheating over towards B, but just a 3-man stack. That shotgun is there. There goes a 3rd smoke as well. That's on mid, and what's happening is Exist uses smoke first, rotated over towards B. Alo uses smoke second and mid, and now he's rotating over towards B, so it's just Forest here. They want to have the presence as if there's multiple players up at this A bomb site, but Renegades at the moment is not falling for it whatsoever.
So trying to force Sponge to kind of do the maths and say, okay, let's go B. Instead, though, he's not falling for the bluff, and I spoke too soon.
Azer's just falling back to check and make sure he's not
about it. I saw a couple of others start to orientate themselves, but fortunately, the T-side stand vigilant. So much utility still, and they're just going to be waiting this clock down before they can set up with all of those nades for a push on towards A, and I think it's actually coming. We can look at B as much as you want, because the T-side, they're having absolutely none of it as they worm their way towards CT Arch.
These smokes have ran the clock down. There are only 30 seconds left. So Renegades is just going to wrap around. They're going to try and use the range of these Galils of that AK-47. Force is the only one in pit. He's going to have to come up with something magical.
If he stops this bomb from going down, things could get dicey, but he's been forced out from the volleys. That's 2, I think, thrown towards his location. It was actually a HE, but the bomb does go down courtesy of Sponge, and now the rotate is on. 4 members of Ninjas in Pajamas are storming towards the site with a bit of a chip on their shoulder, and Havoc is going to be making it even more painful as he takes down Freiburg. Now, some heavily tagged Swedes are going to be desperately making a decision. I think that decision is clear. Let's let Forest fall by the wayside and keep our investments safe. It's just P250 and, of course, the Mag 7 for Get Right, but, I mean, how much can you do at this point? There's rifles in this equation, time in this equation, and, of course, 5 Australians ready to pick up that round. They're spreading themselves out. They know they've done something, but actually a little bit of damage is exchanged between the 2. Get Right finally finds something from the Mag 7, but that's going to be a round, and that's going to be
Very interesting from Renegades.
That's awful, though, by Renegades.
Wait, what?
Giving up this AK-47 into CT spawn, retreating out of that bomb site so uncoordinated. They actually also lost to Galil that also went towards CT spawn, so that's a good find for Alu. Now, I doubt he's going to be buying armor this round simply because of the investment of the last round.
Spoke too soon.
Oh, he does. He buys it up. So, I mean, that's actually devastating. Alu could do some real damage with this.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm sure they're aware of this error. They're going to be probably kicking themselves or not. Double SMGs, though, because they know that they can rip through the majority of the CT side. That's for certain. But Renegades, they're on track to pick up the first 3 here, and looks like the first time they're going to be casting the majority of their eyes over towards this banana area. Molly does delay the inevitable as they try and clear out the potential spots. Ali's already been brought down to half health. How much damage can he do with this AK? The answer is quite a lot. He's already found 1, found 2, found 3! Alu springs to life with that one slip-up from RNG. And now just Sponge and Havoc have it all to do.
Yeah, that's exactly what happens when you give up an AK-47. Bad decision-making in the last round from Renegades, and they've been punished for it. This gives Get Red a lot of space to flank with. It's going to take a little bit longer, but there's really nowhere, because Renegades had no control in mid. They can't fall back safely. They don't know maybe 3 members of NiP push down, so they've got to be cautious. They're just going to sit outside, wait to see if anyone from NiP is going to peek, but that's just not going to happen. They're completely boxed into banana.
Yeah, I think they're just going to dig their heels in and realize that Alu has done a huge amount into securing this round. Sponge and Havoc, though, they're not out of this just yet, especially if just one of them can find an entrance into this site. Exist and Freiburg are planning on making that difficult. Smoke does come out from them, though, to try and make the angles a little easier to check. Nade comes out, caught nicely by Exist, brought down to 50 as they are throwing out as much as they can, trying to take at least this 1 out of this. It's going to be 2. It's now all onto Sponge. He's already found 3 in this round, finds his 4th. It's going to be Get Right, who fortunately does manage to secure it, finishes where Alu started and secures the round. It wasn't neat, it wasn't pretty, but Ninjas in Pajamas win a round they had no right to.
Yeah, they completely punished Renegades for that one goof of just losing that AK-47, so that's tough, but because that's the thing, Renegades, this was the opportunity. They could have piled some rounds on early before NiP can build up this bank, because now look at the arsenal they have. They have all their rifles, but they also have 3 Molotovs. They have smokes. Everyone has a smoke, so now these choke points are going to be so difficult to manage for the terrorist side.
See what they kind of have up their sleeves. I mean, 3 flashes now and a smoke as one thrown out by Sponge is all they have to piece together this round. And actually just one, he realizes the boost is coming in, and Freiburg going aggressive down Banana does a hefty amount of damage to that stack. And there's another one. Forrester Sponge punished for showing his face down Boiler.
Yeah, that's really unfortunate to walk into. Beautiful vertical stack, too many players to choose from, so Sponge falls. And a lot of damage dealt. This is a force by Renegades, and they've made no progress despite all the damage they've taken.
Yeah, it's just delaying again. You talked about these smokes, and it seems to be a very much rinse and repeat, as you would expect on Inferno, just literally bringing that clock down as far as they can. And the T side have now got 3 rifles to play with. Well, of course, trying to find a way in. It's going to be coming down to how much Freiburg can do, and he's already found damage. And oh, Get Right just finishes him up. It was lined up by Freiburg, and Get Right knocks him down, and now Havoc is sitting here realizing that, I mean, yeah, hell, he's got the bomb, but 35 seconds. He just wants to try and keep that rifle.
Yeah, there's not really, I mean, this is the thing too, because now once they lose this round, they're going to be forced onto a safe force. Is going to clean up Havoc, but now they're going to be on an eco round, and this is just going to allow more money to be built up by NiP. So that's the thing on the terror side of this map, when you can get stalled out so easily, when it can be so defensive sided, you have to get some rounds won early on before those Molotovs can be afforded by the CT defense to just be rebought round after round after round.
So it can't be overstated how important Renegades winning that 3rd was. It didn't happen, and that's going to cost them.
More so losing the AK in the second round
exactly.
that allowed NiP. The Alu, magnificent play. You cannot overstate how much impact that can have on this match.
It's insane how we can see some of the smaller elements sometimes of CS making such an impact in such a crucial game of Counter-Strike, as it is just going to be a few pistols for the T side, desperately trying to find something, and hell, Havoc does with just the Glock as another for Havoc. That's actually a level playing field now in terms of numbers, most definitely not equipment, as I think Alu's going to be able to tidy this one up somewhat, and Naza is not going to be able to catch Freiburg off with this one. No more Glock frags for you, but they managed to make a small impact into the NiP side, and it certainly could have been a lot worse.
Yeah, now going into this buy round, this is also big for Renegades, but this defense from NiP, they're getting so much early damage done, whether it's through smokes towards Banana, you know, dinking some player up on the boost, throwing some nades down. They're getting a lot of early damage. They're softening Renegades up for later on in the round when they're out of those smokes and the choke points. When that execution eventually does come through, a little bit easier for NiP to clean it all up.
And Forrest going for that very deep early smoke to try and lock them out of Banana, enables them to get some early control, and Freiburg's going to be doing just that as he makes his way towards Sandbags. Flashed through by Get Right as they are really just seizing control. Look at this. This is definitely something quite special from NiP. JKS readying himself alongside the rest of his team. As soon as that smoke does dissipate, they're going to be making their presence known. In fact, not even waiting for the smoke. Exists trying to hold steady, but JKS does manage to trade out with Alu. Back and forth, it seems, as the T side are flooding through. They've done this once, but not against Rifles of the CT side. And it looks like Exist and Get Right are just going to take it in turns. As now all onto Azza. He's only found one. That's all he's going to be given. As Ninjas in Pajamas secure 4.
Yeah, so many smokes on that Rap side. Even though they get a good trade coming up and forcing Exist back into CT spawn, they can't find anywhere to go from there. They'd have to run through another smoke and into so many angles that could have been defended. And NiP, that rotation from Get Right, very aggressive, just coming through the smoke, bailing his teammates out, cleaning up some kills here. So a good defense so far. NiP up 4-2, and it's 4 straight.
Yeah, I mean, you keep kind of addressing how CT can have momentum in their economy. And look at this, Alu and Exist looking to pad those numbers even more so. PP Bison just rushing down mid with the nade. Get Right's supporting with the rifle, but Sponge says no to one SMG. Alu, however, is coming from behind. He's going to be able to snatch one. That round is over before it even begun. And we're going to be seeing Renegades down then 2-5. With Ninjas in Pajamas looking very comfortable. We're seeing 2 players in the 10,000 margin.
And here's a little bit of a switch up from Renegades. So they pick up an AWP onto Yam. So this is a tough map for a terrorist op to be effective, just because of how many smokes are going to be in these choke points. You're always opping in the choke points, and nades, smokes, flashbangs, they're all going to be coming at you. So it can be very, very difficult to find kills, but they want to be able to pick one off before they commit somewhere. Alu's got the AWP for the CT side.
And whether or not we'll see that exchange is a different question. Alu is going to be smoked off, and he's immediately going to be getting the hell out of there. Potentially a sign of heavy T presence in mid. Fortunately, though, for him, not going to be coming just yet. Instead, this stack could be perfect. He knows Freiburg likes to check it and didn't manage to find the frag. That could have been crucial for the Renegades side. Just starting to push out the first block of the NiP pile, but not going to happen just yet. Instead, Get Right's the one to be going aggressive this time. And why is it that they're putting so much emphasis on early Banana control?
Banana on Inferno kind of plays out like a mid. If you don't have control of it, you're pretty much confined towards the A bomb site. So they need to get some damage done. They need to make NiP honest on defending this. Freiburg once again playing with Yam's op, almost catching a couple bullets there. But either way, still complete control for NiP. Clock's winding down, 45 seconds, 1 Molotov left on Forest. Now, because they're out of the Molotovs and the smokes, that forces Get Right and Freiburg back into the B bomb site as Sponge and Azur push them back. But either way, Alu gets that opening kill onto Yam over a day.
We wondered if we were going to be seeing the AWP duel, and we most definitely did. Alu prevails in that one, as there is a weird split for the T side. Bomb in the hands of JKS is actually going to be kind of maneuvering its way towards B. It's actually going to be Sponge who hungers for an entry. Get Right and Freiburg are the sentinels currently standing. Get Right towards that first box, isn't going to be able to find too much more. I say that, actually Azza walks straight into his crosshair. Could this be a third as well? JKS is a little late to the party, 13 seconds. That bomb's not going to be going down easy, but JKS forces Get Right's hand, and that's going to be the bomb going down in the nick of time. Havoc trying to keep him safe. Exist crawling from Banana as well. They're going to have every single entrance into this site. It's going to come down to what JKS and Havoc can piece together early. They need to level the numbers now. And I think JKS is desperate to try and find Alu. He's going to try, and it's Havoc who finds it. Now a 2v2. This is doable for Renegades. And it's surely not going to happen. But yet JKS makes it realistic. Exist, 37 points of health. And that bomb is ticking away fast. Renegades have managed to turn this on its head. And now Exist. What is your plan here? Absolutely nothing as he gets sprayed down. JKS looking glorious with 3. Havoc was keeping him safe and sound, and Renegades do manage to acquire that one quite stylishly.
Yeah, what a round to win from Renegades. Everything was working against them there. That's kind of the trouble when there's so many nades to block off everywhere on Inferno. You kind of can see there that hit on B was pretty haphazard to begin with. It was going in one by one because you all of a sudden you've got 30 seconds left on the clock and you've made no progress anywhere on the map, so you have to fall back into this B hit. Either way, they make it work in the end, and that's a huge win. That's a round that NiP probably shouldn't have given up.
Yeah, they're going to be kind of regretting that somewhat, but Alu looking to change things as he already opens up onto Azza. Playing from a disadvantage so early on T side, Inferno can be awful. I mean, it's hard enough with 5 sometimes to find a way into the site with time to spare. But then again, we just saw what Renegades can do with just 20 seconds. So let's see if we can find any more evidence for an early pick. A trade back and forth. He knows Freiburg is there. Yam is so convinced, but every single time he just whittles away at the legs of Yam. This time it was Sponge who gets taken away. Finally, through the smoke, Yam connects, and that was important as he does bring it down back to a 4v4. And NiP have some counting, some numeracy to do in order to keeping these both sites safe.
Right, and Exist starting to bail out now over towards the B bomb site. It's just Get Right there at the moment, but Renegades look like they're setting up for an A execute here. They're still all over an alt mid. No one even towards Banana whatsoever. It's just Forrest and Alu playing very, very passively at this A bomb site.
And, I mean, this 2-2 split, it's probably the best bet for NiP at this point. Not wanting to get caught out by a heavy force from either side. So far, though, it does look like JKS and Sponge are trying to make the rotate happen over towards A, but the bomb...
It's a fake.
...has other plans, but they've committed to this one. This is intriguing. I don't think NiP are going to fall for it, but when frags like that are happening, GetRight's going to push up. This is beautiful on either side of the map. Bodies are dropping, and JKS and Sponge are saying, shoot. The A site is open, and Alu, fortunately, does find the frag onto JKS. Now all on to Exist. He's got 10 seconds to just stop the bomb from going down, and it's beautiful, Exist. 2 kills could never be so important. As Sponge realizes it's all said and done, 2 orbs sitting in the CT hands, and he can't take one away. And that's going to be crucial for NiP. Exist even connecting through the smoke. Salt to the wound of the Australians as they managed to get 6 on the board. And we talked about how they managed to manipulate the clock beforehand. No cigar this time. Yeah,
and this is a smart pause from Sponge because their economy's been reset now. So they're going to have to try and figure something out because, yeah, they're not finding a lot of success before that clock dwindles. It's basically see what happens and then go over towards B. That round, I think it was actually a little unfortunate. Renegades throw a smoke that extinguishes their own Molotov and it blows up in a really awkward position, and that was the smoke that Exist kind of toyed with there at the end to get that double kill, but that was a fake, and that worked out really well for Renegades. Forrest with a nade out gets caught, and then that causes GetRight to want to try and get an early flank going on. He gets punished as well, but Exist comes up huge.
I mean, that seemed, everything was coming into place for Renegades in that round. You're absolutely right, but what shows what just one man can do when given the opportunity. We can see that again. Those 2 kills, they had just so little time left on the clock. Taking so many risks so early.
That's kind of the thing with the clock running down that low. It's almost like even if Exist didn't get both of them, even if it just took them a couple seconds too long to kill them, they might not have even had time to get the plant down anyways. So that's the thing. Once that economy of the counter-terrorist gets rolling, you have a lot of things working against you.
Yeah, pretty terrifying now then, as I think that timeout is going to be... It's going to be crucial to see. We were talking about this before, though. We were saying over in the green room, we were talking about when is the right time to call a timeout. Is it once you have a weapon in your hand? Because time after time we've seen so far here at ESL One Cologne that they call the timeout when they only have a very limited economy, Moses. Is that something that you kind of would put up to debate? Is it kind of by team, or is it kind of an obvious decision?
I honestly would have liked to have seen Renegades do... I think more teams should do this. You just asked me in the last match. This is one of those things that we saw exactly what Thailand did on Mirage, is just sit and spawn. You're going to be saving this round anyways, more than likely. You do have Havoc, who has a decent amount of money, but really outside of that, there's nothing. So just sit and spawn, talk things over, and that's a free timeout. You can use this later, because now if they get into a sticky situation in the second half, they have nothing to fall back on.
Absolutely. They need to kind of keep those timeouts safe. And I'm just going to see, I saw a couple of buys going in. It was just Havoc acquiring himself a P250 for his team. But yeah, I think that's something we're going to be considering more and more so. Is you can play this, just play the time of the round and keep that timeout safe. It's intriguing to see the kind of the mind games that go into that and how you play a timeout. But Sponge hasn't stopped talking so far.
Well, one thing that Renegades can do, obviously not now that their economy is this low, but if they want to put that emphasis on Yam having an AWP on the terror side, one thing that Kenny S used to do pretty frequently on Titan was he'd take his op into halls, because that's often the only choke point. He'd have an AK with him to help clear it out in case there was anyone close, but that's often the only place that early on into a round that's not smoked off. So he'd get there pretty quick, try and grab an angle into that A bomb site, see if he can pick off Forrest, who's played graveyards a couple times, see if you can peek into the site, try and find a kill that way. But sitting behind these smokes in mid and at B is not working out for Renegades at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. So far, not so good. But, I mean, where would Renegades be comfortable on the side swap? 6-3, the current scoreline. You said already that they have so much more success when they start on the CT. But, I mean, what kind of numbers are they going to be comfortable with when they do get gifted that defensive side?
At this point, I mean, they're going to want... They'd be comfortable with 2 or 3 more.
Right, okay.
But, I mean, anything less than 5, you're just like, oh, no, this
has gone diabolical.
Right. We got to have a good start to our CT half.
And this is interesting from NiP. They're immediately just charging, not giving them a second to think, as they do just push up, and you can see the T side getting ripped apart at this point. as the CTs just emerge through middle, and the bodies are going to keep dropping. The small investment that Havoc managed to throw onto the ground was nothing, and laughed at by NiP as they do acquire 7. And that timeout, you see, I can see how that would get into your head as you've made a timeout, you've made these plans, and then you just go and lose your 5 lives in a matter of seconds. Instead, maybe this could have been the round they called that time. We'll see if it has any impact, though, as it does look like we are going to be seeing buys in the hands of the Renegades. 7-3 the scoreline, and I mean, where are they going to be choosing to go here? Alu has the AWP as well. He's going to be a threat.
Yeah, he's going to peek mid once again. He knows there's not an AWP on the other side, so he's getting aggressive like he wants to peek down. Sponge might be the only one to find, but 4 players for Renegades and ult mid. JKS, he's smoked out of halls at the moment, but it looks like they want to grab halls control and go from there. Once again, though, everything blocked off. They're just going to come right through the smoke. There's Alu punishing Yam for it.
And it looks like Exist is going to be finding a second as well. Azza now sleeping with the fishes. Just 3 remain. Sponge, Havoc, and JKS. And Sponge does manage to grab the Galil, so that's something. But it looks like Exist and Freiburg are having no problems whatsoever as the entire Australian attack has just been laughed off by the Swedes. They walk away with 8 at the moment. 3 for Exist in that round, who's been fantastic, both with on the B site, this time on the A. Doesn't matter where you put him. The man is on fire, and you can even see a small smile potentially creeping on everyone. Oh, there it is! Exist smiling as well. He's finally showing that he has got emotions, and he's happy to be sitting 9 frags in.
Well, that's who's going to be happy to see that is Natu, the coach of NiP. Just because I know from talking to him, he always says like, their biggest problem right now is their confidence. They need to be playing like themselves. They need to be confident, and they're playing like it at the moment.
Alu demonstrating why they have this confidence. He can hit shots so comfortably in middle. It's going to be 2. Looking for a third as well, as he is going to be forced back from that flashbang, but already just kind of shutting down any sort of presence. Oh man, that is going to be beautiful, as that could very well be another one, as it's going to be just JKS standing. Alu's already snatched 3 lives away, and it's going to be Forrest who puts that nail into the Renegade coffin. 9-3 though on this CT side of Inferno. And you said confidence. I'm pretty sure starting this well against a team who just looked so good up against Titan is going to put them in good stead.
Well, and this is a really good match for Alu so far. It's 17-4. All 5 members of NiP before this round were sitting over $10,000. So they're going to be comfortable for the rest of this half, no matter what happens. And Renegades' chances are dwindling to add some more rounds out of this going into the second half.
Yeah, for Flaren was saying that we can't quite accommodate for just one player. He's just one player, but right now that one player is doing a whole lot for NiP. Casting my back to that very position Freiburg was just in with the AK. This time it's going to be Freiburg who finds the frags there, and it feels like the T side are kind of hitting a bit of a wall here. 2 players down so early.
Yeah, they've switched things up a little bit. So now they spent the first half of this, the first few rounds of this half, just stuck behind these smokes with nothing going. So this time they're just saying, we're going to go faster. We're going to try and beat these smokes. We're going to come right through the smokes. That's not working either. Mostly because this man, Alu, with a double kill, is just shutting down these attacks. Yem does find Freiburg trying to flank through Banana. But what do you do from here? 12 HP and AWP. The bomb is down over towards bench. He's got to get that, but NiP pushing into these halls. They've got too many eyes on it.
Yeah, I think he knows his time is over. Exist does cause Yam to cease to exist, and that's going to be 10-3. Now, 2 rounds left for Renegades. You said anything less than 5 is going to be tough for them. And already, these last 2 rounds are looking going to be pretty dicey. I mean, Tech 9's an armor for them going into this round. And
right, they're at the point they can't afford to save here. They just have to go for it. And at this point, what they're doing here, it's not a full force buy. They could have probably bought up some rifles if they had wanted to, but they're going to buy the Tech 9, see if they can get some magic to happen. But they have the full losing bonus, so next round they're going to be able to have a full buy no matter what they bought this round.
I mean, when you're playing NiP on the map, they have the most success as of late. You've got to watch out. Alu, he's been doing this time and time again, one side or the other. This time he's going to be flashed out. That does give a little bit of room for the Renegades to breathe, and Sponge extends that onto Exist. How far can Alu get? He actually connects the no-scope. Forrest is there as well with 2 from Pit, dancing around as he's trying to find a third. And he does through the smoke with the 5-7. Havoc is looking a little shaken, and he is going to be eliminated as well. Forrest just puts that force to bed with 4 frags, and NiP are looking very, very comfortable here against the Renegades side. They will, of course, be, if they pick this victory up, one step closer to returning to where they stood over in Katowice. A team that have looked so far from the team that we saw in the major final over in Poland. And now, I mean, they're playing against a team for elimination that we didn't see get out of groups over in that very same tournament.
Just to bring this full circle, going back to that second round where Renegades lost that AK-47 that Alu picked up, got a triple kill and won them. the third round on it, it's been 11-1 for NiP. So that one AK-47, that one round, that opportunity it gave NiP, that's just too much of a chance, too big of a window to give a team like this. Even though they've been struggling lately, the experience in these kind of situations, you have to get them when they're down. You cannot give them that avenue back into the game.
Yeah, and every round they acquire now, NiP are going to be feeling more and more confident. Confidence like that. Forest with the ult this time does open up onto Sponge, and Alu is showing no signs of stopping no matter what weapon is in his hands. Havoc now down and out, and the 3 Renegades remaining are wondering where it all went wrong, as again, time after time, we see the Renegades side depleted down to 3, maybe even 4, just kind of cut down before they have a chance to kind of build anything towards a site. Now, 50 seconds, and they're starting their push. GetRight's going to make it difficult. Snatches 2, may very well find a 3rd through the smoke as he sprays wildly onto Yam. Connects as well. 12-3 for the Ninjas in pajamas. What a solid half.
Yeah, just once that economy got rolling, NiP never had to look back. Beautifully done from them. Alu was an absolute beast. 21-5. He ends up. Forrest as well, 17-7. He was so comfortable. Every time that Renegades went towards that A bomb site, it was basically, aside from that one fake they threw, they always went around wrap. And Forrest playing over towards that pit never had too much pressure put on him whatsoever.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, something that was said on the desk that I'm going to kind of hang on to, cast my mind back to, was that Inferno was probably the most unlucky of the 3 remaining in that randomized thing for the Renegades. If they got CT side, it would be a different story. But the fact that a team can be so kind of influenced by where they start, it's not necessarily a good sign. Talking of individual performance as well, that was the main key point we made in their game against Titan. We said JKS didn't need to stand up because everyone else was fragging so hard on Mirage. Same cannot be said for Inferno, with JKS the only man to breach double digits on the scoreboard.
They haven't had a chance to frag. I mean, NiP's done a great job on that defense of making sure that any fight that Renegades could choose to take at any point, it was a really tough fight for them. They were always in the disadvantaged situation going into those battles. So NiP just shutting them down at the moment, and it's good to see.
It truly is, and I mean, Alu's going to have a big smile on his face, sitting so high on the scoreboard.
The interesting thing is, Renegades, when this map got picked, you said it was probably the most unfortunate, is they were probably decently happy. They probably had some good confidence. It's their second best map. They've won 8 out of 11 matches on it, and this is just a NiP that's showed up, and once that, I mean, how many times can we say it? Once they start getting those Molotovs rebought and everything, there's just nothing that Renegades could do to make any kind of a progress. How many times did we see them just play these rounds out, lose a couple players, and then go back towards B, or play these rounds out and realize that you haven't made any progress because of all the smokes, and then just go back to B, and that's where NiP is just going to shut you down.
Yeah, distinct lack of progress early. I think it was, that's actually a very good point you've made there, Moses, that was something that was just not given to them. Let's see if the Australians can do the same on their CT side, if they can lock Ninjas in Pajamas out as much as they experienced on the other half. It has been a swap around then. 12-3 on the first half. This is the second, battling for survival at this point. One of these teams will be extinct from the major, and look at the buy for the CT side. Pushing up aggressive. As Havoc does get tickled by the HE, he's going to gather a whole lot of information for that. Even with that second peek, as 2 bodies are surely going to be dropping on towards Banana. That is not so sweet, as JKS is the only one to really return the favor.
Yeah, the danger is even if GetRight falls here watching the flank, all 3 members are there, which is really, really unfortunate. But there's no kits on the CT side. No one bought a kit whatsoever. So now that this bomb is planted, they've got to move very, very quickly.
Oh, he just jumped over GetRight's head. He's sitting on the other side of the smoke, and they have no idea. GetRight rubbing his hands together with an evil laugh as he's made the call. There couldn't be any more intel now for Ninjas in Pajamas, and Alu happy to provide the frags. Picks up 2, GetRight cleans up, sweeps the Australians under the rug, and that, my friends, is the start of Ninjas in Pajamas getting to the arena.
It would have been GetRight in that situation to have someone just jump over his head and just hand him the perfect alert. That would happen to GetRight. Oh, either way.
What is this pile of logs in Banana? I don't quite remember this part that as they mantle over him through the smoke.
It's just funny because he's jumping through the smoke to make himself hard to kill if someone's playing on the right or the left angles, and it just so happens that he times his jump perfectly to clear GetRight.
Now, as time and luck most definitely are not on the side of Renegades. 13-3. They have to try and piece something together, and JKS does it. That's 2. It could very well be 3, but just cowering behind the car is enough to keep the remaining 3 standing. Where do you go from here, though? Are they alerted? Are they going to try and deal with it? Freiburg does. Darts into the site with a MAC-10. Trying to do something. Havoc backs away. Life is more valuable than a frag at this point. Wants to try and stay stacked before the bomb goes down, because it still isn't. And Sponge is wrapping around from Banana. Now the bomb in. 3, remaining for Renegades. They've made such a good impact, and all off the back of JKS, who's been fantastic, top of the scoreboard player so far here on Inferno. But weapons most definitely favour the T's. This shouldn't, and it does go their way. What just happened? Renegades, on the breach of defeat, managed to find a breath of fresh air.
Yeah, that's they just returned the favor and won an eco of their own. So NiP, they want to just bully their way into that B bomb site, and JKS stops them cold with those initial 2 kills, and from there, the remaining Renegades players, 4-on-3, they can just whittle them down as they enter that bomb site. So nicely done from Renegades. They've given themselves a chance here, but look at this, NiP not taking their foot off the gas. Full nades, full armor, Tech 9s, and AK-47 for Freiburg, so they're not willing to concede the advantage just yet.
I mean, that must be tough. I mean, you know you've just had an amazing round, but you can't celebrate. There cannot be, smiles. There can be very little, because you realize that is the start of something very, very small at this point in the game. 13 rounds. You have such a small margin for error at this point that this force buy from NiP has just as much of a chance of throwing them off kilter.
Well, you know, Renegades is going to be very cautious and very prepared for the fact that this could be that Tech 9 buy. What's a little bit scary about it is the full nades behind it. NiP can do any kind of execute they want, and Renegades may not be prepared for that.
You can see Azza's almost trying to mimic what we saw from Freiburg, that control of Banana. Integral, supported by JKS, both with that secondary smoke if he needs it, but also they're trying to battle for some sort of information, both in the arsenal, but also into the positioning of the Swedish side. So far, so good, though. They have got a nice spread across the map. Weapons favour them, that's for certain. Just the one man with the SMG. It's Sponge who's going to be having trouble to dispatch of the armoured T's. It's going to be Azza who's first to be tested, just finds the one. As already damage has been done. JKS down to just 1 point of health, but he's still breathing. He's making the call, and Sponge's legs cannot carry him fast enough towards that B site. Molly thrown out. What can you do with the SMG? The answer is a lot. Finds the head of Exist. Could very well find a second as he finds a fresh magazine. But Forrest says no. 3v2 then. As, Havoc so close to finding Forrest, but a second on the board. And it looks like NiP manages to kick Renegades back down a peg after what was an incredible second round for them on the CT side. Now Yam, 3 players to find. Does crawl into the site. Every angle is going to be held, and he knows that 3 is just such a painful number when trying to retake B. Every corner. Oils, new box, and I mean, he tried it. You got to give him that, but there's not going to be enough. And Ninjas in Pajamas now 2 away from the arena. Yeah, but DM was just walking up. He was trying to see if anyone from NiP was going to give him a free kill, peek out, give him something to work with, turn it into a 1-on-2. That's a little bit more believable, but NiP can smell the quarterfinals, so they played that very disciplined, very aggressive as well. Flashbang from Get Right coming from alt mid, blinding the player at Tree for just 1 second, allows him to be traded off. And now what's the response from Renegades? They have that AK-47 because they won the eco round. They had a little bit more money built up, so 2 M4s come out as well. So 14-4. Gonna be the score so far. So there's a whole horde of nades for the Ninjas in Pajamas. Just the 3 rifles then from the CT side. As now let's just go on into this one. As I'm not too sure how far Azza and JKS are going to be allowed to push. And look at this boost above the smoke. Something a little bit different from the Renegades, and it's not going to be caught out. That was possible, but not going to happen this time. Get Right quick to respond, though, on towards Yam, as it is a 4v4, and Get Right trying to make some noise around towards Quad. Exist is going to be doing... He's just going back and forth. They're really struggling to find an entrance so far. Neat and tidily anyway. And Azza is there to hold Sponge's hand as he readies himself to hold. Not much health to be seen, and Alu does ensure that as the bodies keep dropping. Now just a 2v2. Yeah, but you can see the difference in these two teams. That's a nice shot by Freiburg, though, as well. It's just so much better at trading was NiP as they came up that ramp. Now JKS has turned this into a 1-on-1 with that 5-7. But so much utility still in Freiburg. Molotov on the ground, gets extinguished by the smoke. JKS is just being held back by that flashbang. A lot of work to do. Freiburg holding the angle. JKS trying to find something. Nothing's being given to him. He doesn't have a kit, so he's got to hurry this up now. He's getting to that point, and he finds the headshot. Freiburg takes the peek, but JKS plays it so patiently. That was crucial. Renegades managing to acquire the 5th. Ooh, that's another one on the board and managed to stave off another round from Ninjas in Pajamas. They tried something different, even at this stage, even on the ropes, they tried to innovate. Yam above the smoke in mid. Didn't quite do everything, but their economy still looking a little shaky.
Yeah, and with that plant and it down to a one-on-one, NiP is going to buy again here. They're not going to, you know,
they're not going to relent. Absolutely,
because it's still a very weak buy out of Renegades. If you look at it, 2 Famuses, only 1 kit, 4 smokes, which is pretty nice, 2 Molotovs as well behind it. But they know that Renegades' economy is broken. If they can win this round, it's almost a free path to the Lanxess Arena.
Absolutely. Now, the 289s are going to give them a kind of an ability to push in aggressive. Talking of aggressive, Azza straight on, casting his eyes down Banana, and that's 2 bodies dropped. Yam down as well, thanks to Get Right elsewhere, and now JKS is forced to retreat. It feels like an all too familiar scenario for him. In the meantime, Get Right again, that's 2 for him in such a crucial round. This is going to be NiP trying to force this round, force this victory, and it all comes down to JKS. He burns to death as 15 goes onto the board for Ninjas in Pajamas. They're not making this easy, Renegades. They're trying to keep things exciting, but Ninjas in Pajamas are looking like a team. They're simply outclassing them here on Inferno.
Yeah, and what do you buy now? I mean, despite losing a couple rounds here and there, NiP has had complete control of this economy throughout this half. Just these 5 rounds has been dictated by the fact that NiP is not letting Renegades build up any bank behind their wins and then completely demolishing the economy the following round. So what do you buy? Azur has the scout. 3 pistols behind it as well as an ump.
And it's looking clear. 4 players then remaining. 4 chances for Renegades to stay here, stay in the major. They put so much time, so much effort into improving their result. And it does look like they may not be able to be playing on that grand stage at the Lanxess Arena in front of 10,000 CSGO fans. JKS trying to keep the hope alive though with a frag onto Freiburg. Now Havoc, JKS and Azza are all that stands in NiP's way from getting 1 step closer to where they stood over in Katowice. Havoc and JKS, what have you got? An ump and an AK to keep the dream alive. Entity's side. Oh, it's not just taking their time with this. Aloe finds another one. That's going to be his 27th frag as he has been standing at the top of that scoreboard, joined by Forrest and Get Right, all standing with 20-something. And it's Exist to acquire it. 16-5 will be the final result, and NiP advance. They're going to the arena, and they're going to have a shot at that major title.
Yeah, fitting that they make it, bang in all those finals. Scary though that this redraw of this group could have seen any 3 of these teams. Renegades, just a little bit unfortunate. Gave up a little bit too much in that first half, just in that second round. Just that drop of the AK was just the round of the match for me because it just turned everything around. That's what allowed NiP to get an early start on building their economy, and they just ran away with it from there. 16-5. Alu was a beast. Forrest was hitting some vintage Forrest shots, which is good to see.
Yeah, it's absolutely insane how 1 round, 1 mistake, one foolish weapon loss can cost a team so much, because it wasn't just that round, as you said. It's insane that NiP, I mean, what was it you kind of dubbed it? You just said the seasoned pros of NiP managed to really kind of make it count with such a small error from RNG, or, well, evidently not such a small error.
Oh, it was a massive error.
Yeah.
It really was a massive error. As well, because on top of that, they lost to Galil as well. They just lost too much money in that round, and they immediately had to save. And they couldn't. You noticed in the second half when NiP, when those rounds went back and forth, NiP was always able to do damage in the rounds they lost in the second half. Renegades, because their economy was so demolished, couldn't buy those Tech 9s, couldn't buy those nades to help them do damage to the economy of Nick. So it just kept building up as the half went on. And that's just too much to deal with.
It must be tough, and I mean, I think Ninjas in Pajamas know that there's a long road ahead. You can see the discussion there between Aloe and Forrest, just saying, hey man, we rocked that scoreboard, but also saying that we've got a long way to go to stay kind of where they've set their targets. It's no secret that NiP have not been in top shape. I mean, it's very clear. They've said it themselves. They even released a video letting the community know that they are aware that they're not playing their best. Now, though, they are taking another step closer. It hasn't been an easy path. Coming through, of course, the lowers, and now they are going to be getting themselves, packing that equipment away and readying themselves for what's going to be going on tomorrow in front of an insane crowd.
Yeah, it should be said as well to Renegades. They're a team that is really cool for me to watch. Every time I see them in a new tournament, obviously they're not satisfied with falling out in group stages, but every time we see them, they look better and better. Now they have some individual players who are stepping up and being dominant in matches. We just saw them outplay Titan, a brand new Titan, to be fair, but like crushed Titan. Like Sponge said it in the interview, that was a convincing win. There was no doubt who the better team was, and he's exactly right. So that team getting more experience internationally is really starting to pay off, and that's cool to see.
Yeah, absolutely. So, the experienced NiP do prevail over the slightly dejected now Australians, especially after the win against Titan. They did feel like they could have made more of an impact over on Inferno. But a big congratulations to the Swedes as they advance. And let's head over to the desk with Chobra and the gang to see what Exist has to say.
All right, we do have Exist here. Welcome back, sir. Congratulations on winning, and of course, what's more important here is that securing your spot in the playoffs. You do continue on the major, although some people were like a little bit worried after watching Renegades last game. It looks like you guys just blasted through that game, and after looking in hindsight, it seems like you guys weren't worried at all in that matchup.
No, I mean, we know that they're a good team. Like you said, they beat Renegade, Titan, sorry. But I also felt like they had their moment. They beat Titan, so maybe that took all of their energy. I don't know. Of course, we felt like we're the better team and we should win. But going into this day, we said, let's just play CS. Let's not care about anything. Let's not overthink stuff, you know.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like it worked out for you guys. And of course, now being able to continue, the story for you guys being at the majors every time and being at the finals of every major so far, that hope can continue to live on. How did you guys view that matchup against Renegades for NiP?
I feel like it seemed that in the majority of the part, NiP was pretty much convincingly in the lead, especially after winning that third round. You just kept on going. You had the economy as a CT, you made some clever rotations. It seemed like everything was under control for me. How satisfied were you with the random generate of Inferno?
I was very happy playing Inferno. Of course, we haven't played it for a long time, I think. We have practiced it a lot, and we have worked on our mistakes there. So yeah, we were happy with Inferno for sure.
And the small question I brought up before the game was Alu and Getrad swapping seats. Is that just random? Is it anything to it?
It was just something that they talked about and they were going to do. But before the games earlier, I was looking to my left and I couldn't see Alu, so I kind of missed him, and it's good to have him back.
Glad to hear that. What about you, Fifth and Similar? I mean, of course, the score kind of speaks for itself on this one. If you watch the match, it is pretty straightforward for NiP moving on.
Yeah, I mean, overall, just looking at NiP's aggression throughout the game, when they knew that Renegades were saving, push down mid, always the aggressive smoke down banana, and Renegades, I mean, they just got outplayed. They had no reply whatsoever to NiP's aggression. There was one specific round, obviously, other than the third round, where Renegades actually got the entry, and they also got one more entry out of force on the A bomb side, and were faking to go towards B. And they're just like outplaying themselves. In that case, in that specific point of time, if they had left more round time to their advantage, they can just fall back to A and they would have just won the round. But it just never happened. They seemed very lost on the map. And then, yeah, convincing win for NiP.
How is the atmosphere on the team right now? How are you guys feeling as far as communication is concerned? Do you feel like you're meshing well after obviously after the TSM debacle, but then coming into a strong win here? How does the team feel for you right now?
We feel very good, obviously. Positive thoughts. We try to just play CS, you know, not overthink things. Yeah. Because that's when we bite ourselves in the ass, you know. So just play CS and gonna go far, I guess.
I'll bite you in the ass.
Oh, okay. Now we see what happened at the hotel rooms back in the day. Bit too much there, man.
That's why we won so much, right?
That's the NiP magic, huh?
Yeah, maybe that's what you need to get to the very end of every major. We'll have to wait to find out. But also moving forward now, playing against Virtus Pro, a lot of people are saying, oh, it looks like, well, things are looking up for you guys. Any thoughts on that one? Or are you going to have to spend the night and really buckle down on that one before being able to give us some opinions on the matchup?
Against Virtus Pro? Mm-hmm. I think it's like 50-50 matchup against them for us. They're a good team. We have played against them very, very many times. I don't know. Of course, I think we're gonna win, but I respect them.
How do you feel like in comparison to maybe gonna have to face Envy or TSM? Obviously, TSM won in the best of one didn't go that well, but compared to maybe meeting Envy, how do you see that matchup? Would you rather have met Envy?
I would rather play Virtus. I think it's an easier matchup compared to Envy, because everyone knows we have had very big problems against Envy, but now they swapped out 2 players, and yeah, who knows?
All right.
So that means you haven't scrimmed against them recently?
We have.
Yeah. Okay.
Not that much though, but scrims doesn't really matter.
No, just getting
Right.
the feel for things.
Okay, well, yeah, good to know, of course. Well, once again, congratulations. We will be seeing you at the Lanxess Arena tomorrow. Very good news for all your fans out there, and of course, you guys as the players who will be standing on that stage. So moving out from Group G, it is NiP, ladies and gentlemen. And also, if you missed any of our matches, not just today, but yesterday, go over to theScore eSports, download the app on your smartphones at the iOS App Store or Google Play. They actually have a nice roundup of day one, so you have to catch up if you missed anything. There's still one spot left for the playoffs, so we will be heading into Group H right after this break.